This video is about working with some of my herbs and how to cut them and how to process them and preserve them. Sometime I may do a video on some of the uses, but this isn't that video. Well, I'm going to show you some things about herbs. This is St. John's wort flowers. I don't use the leaves. I know some people use the leaves, but that's a whole different kind of thing. These are awesome when they are ground and put into capsule blanks. You can use them for kidney infections and all kinds of urinary tract stuff, and they are wonderful. This is the Thai basil, and it's drying. I picked some today. I will show you about picking the Thai basil, but it's very similar to a lot of the other things I'm going to show you about. I just use the flowers, and the smallest of the leaves is what I use. Yeah. This is going to be hard to do, but if I reach right down in there under those two leaves, under the flower, and pinch that off, I leave the two sets below it healthy. See, and the sets below that are healthy. I usually pick them off about when the second set of whorls bloom, but these are the first set of whorls, and I'm still picking them off. Yeah. It's got a lot of ones to bloom, and I'll let the other ones go a little longer. The deck got really dirty because it has rained and then turned incredibly hot. Now, here are some. What you'll notice is a little set of spats below each flower. There's a little set of spats, and you want to come about halfway between the lowest set of spats and these double little things will make the next those are going to make the next two. Well, see how this is doing? They'll make the next flowers. See if I can get that to pull it in focus. There it is. Yeah, that'll make the next set of flowers. And they will bush out a whole lot. And by the end of summer, it will be a big bush. Yeah. I've got that one, and I've got this one, and I picked this one this morning, so it does not have anything on it. And it's kind of struggling with the off turn of the heat. It's still got a lot of water in it from last week's rains, but the heat is just incredible. It is. I'm having a rough time with it myself. It was 95 degrees, something like that today, with a heat index of 104. Yeah, that's hot. And this will make wonderful dried mint for tea or coffee or mint flavoring, or just so many things. Here's one right back here, and I don't know if you can still see it, but I'm going to cut it right above those two branches that are coming out. There's one, and there's the first two really good branches, and I'm going to cut it right above those. And as you can see, I have a whole lot I need to cut, so I'm going to be putting up a lot of mint. Some things about it. This is a flower, and those are not tasty. I'll have to cut those off. The leaves, they heat up a little bit when you let the flowers grow. I'm going to cut it down about that far. what I've got are two stems coming out, and I can use what's above it. If it's got ugly stuff on it, then I tend to cut that off because that seems to affect the way it grows. I'm going to cut that one off right there. See, I left those two stems and a little bit of stem coming out there. These leaves are brown, and I cut it below those brown leaves if I can, because those seem to affect the whole plant. Move on. The plants get heavy, especially when they start putting on flowers. They get very heavy, and the stalks will start coming up. And it's just best if you can go ahead and keep it cut. You can see I'm getting a lot of mint leaf. There's a little more back there, and I'll come and get it in a little bit, but you can see what has been done. I don't like to break mint. I like to cut it. I've cut most of my basil, but I thought I would show you on the basil about the cut. Here's a leaf that could very well be cut, and you see right down here there's a place where there's a leaf stem coming off of both sides of that, and that's where you cut the head off of it. Now this one right here is just a leaf all by itself. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off because I've cut off the other parts. I'm going to cut off those two leaves. They don't add anything to these two where it's had the middle cut off, it or not. But see, there's where the new stuff is coming out, and I'll just snip off the top of it. They will make new heads, and it doesn't take them very long to do it. You need to keep it cut off there so that they don't get ruined. Now there's one that's really been chewed on, and I'm going to throw it away. The tarragon is much the same. Down in that tarragon, hopefully you can see the little leaves growing there. They will grow whole new stems coming out, and you want to cut right between the leaf set and that next place where it's splitting. And that's how you make the tarragon. It should be done on a regular basis to keep the tarragon and the mint, that's the place it needs to be cut off, to keep the tarragon and the mint from growing sloppy and not giving you. And that's how you cut most of them. For rosemary, it's a little different, but I'm not going to put up any rosemary tonight. The mint. This is mint. And this is common basil. Now, I treat my common basil different than I do my spicy or my Thai. And maybe I'll get a chance to show you how I put that up, because that really is a little different the way I put it up. You can turn it into pesto. I don't like it dried as well. You can use it dried, but I really don't like it dried. I like it fresh. And so you can turn it into pesto and freeze little packages of pesto and then pull them out and use them for things that you would use pesto for. Putting the basil up is a little different than some things. These leaves are a little bit brown and damaged. So I'm going to pick off the leaves that are brown and damaged. The little ones on the insides were kind of damaged. And this has been washed and drained in the colander. Now, I always use filtered water to soak a paper towel, and I put it in the bottom of a food saver bag and put that in there with the stem down. And that's how I keep them, and they will keep for a couple weeks, a good week and a half to 2 weeks after I have cut them and washed them, put them in there, and put them with a wet paper towel in the bottom. It's just a couple of leaves, but they are basil leaves. I use common basil in a lot of things. I like it in soups. I love pesto. We had vegetable pizza the other night, and a veggie pizza, and I always make a pesto to put on instead of a marinara or an Alfredo for my veggie pizza. I make a pesto out of garlic and fresh basil and sometimes I'll put some marjoram in there or oregano in with it. I put a little bit of oil and a little bit of salt in when I'm making the pesto, when I'm chopping the pesto. My husband is the best pesto maker. He just makes wonderful. He makes it up. His hands are strong, and he is a good pesto maker. So when I'm making vegetable pizza, that's his contribution usually, is making the pesto. Okay, I've got the basil inside of the bag, and I'm just going to kind of fold it over. I don't exhaust these bags when they've got basil in them. I just pull it together like that and put it in the refrigerator in my crisper or my vegetable box, or sometimes just set it in there if that's where I've got space. And I can pull basil out of it and use it for a good week to a week and a half. And there are some pretty yummy recipes there. So this is the tarragon, and I'm going to dry it. I just pick off the leaves, including those little new growth areas that I might have cut off with some leaves. They will do just fine. The only thing you really waste in this is the stalk. I've had people say that the stalks can be used in the soups and things as well, but I don't. You know, you might try it, see what you think, but I just don't. So the tarragon's a little bit wet because I've just washed it and drained it on a paper towel in my colander, and all of those are there. You can go opposite of the leaves and they'll come off pretty fast. in the fall when I have piles and piles of it. And I make a lot of jars of tarragon to give as gifts and to use during the winter. I get pretty fast. I do cut my tarragon along. I haven't reaped tarragon off of the upper herb garden this year. And I need to go do that because, but I've just been so busy. So I haven't done that. If I get the leaves off of the basic stem of it, up here to where the stem is real tender, then I'll just pinch that off and the leaves will come off that way. Makes it a little faster. This is basically the way you do the mint also. A little bit of difference, and I'll show it to you. I wanted to show you this mint. It's really too big for my colander. So what I'm having to do is come along and break the mint up so that I can wash it good. These flowers that are coming on just need to be pulled off and discarded because they are not yummy. I don't even use the flowers in the RMS. I tried it because normally the flowers have a great amount of all of the energy of the plant, and that's true in the tarragon and the Thai basil. But what I find in the mint is it just does not work well. The flowers don't give me what I need to have. When you have a lot to dry, even when you don't have a lot to dry, the dehydrator leaves it more colorful and fresher, and when it rehydrates, it looks like the fresh herb. It's just, dehydrating is just a lot better if you have a good dehydrator. I've tried it in the oven. I'm not a fan of the oven for a dehydrator. It's better than nothing, but normally I just sit it on a glass dish or on a steel pan. And often I will set it, and I'll show you over here where my stuff is drying. I showed you earlier. It's a steel pan with a glass dish, and it will dry in a couple, 2-3 days like that. I'm starting to reap enough now to where I can probably start doing it in the dehydrator. This video has been very choppy. Part of that has been from being inside and outside, and in different places trying to do the different parts of it. And some of it is the fact that I'm still learning this whole thing about compiling videos. I apologize for the noise on the street. I'll have to think about that. We live on a very busy street. The next video will be about dehydrating and putting the herbs up. And there were only 2 herbs that I have dehydrated at this time. The mint and the tarragon. But I hope you got some things that you could use or some inspiration somehow. And I will see you again next time in Donna's kitchen.